In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. Now with the main headlines. Muslim Council of Britain warns politicians against using Muslims as a punching bag. Amid aid suspension, over 13 million Yemenis experience acute food insecurity. 49th Annual Joint Islamic Conference kicks off in Baltimore. China's campaign to reshape Uyghur culture through food. Assalamu alaikum, this is Amir Ma'ash and you are watching Shia Waves live from Imam Hussein TV 3. Muslim Council of Britain has issued a warning to British party leaders to avoid targeting Muslims in their election campaigns and not to use them as a punching bag amid the ongoing war in Gaza and the attacks on Muslim mosques. The largest Muslim organisation in the UK has called on party leaders not to target minorities during the general election campaigns scheduled for the beginning of July. The Council expressed hope for a hopeful electoral pressure after Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced a parliamentary election date as July 4th. British political parties are facing a crisis of trust among Islamic communities due to the ongoing war in Gaza, according to the media reports. The President of the Muslim Council, Zahra Mohammed, urged political parties and anyone seeking votes to run a hopeful election campaign, confront all calls to scapegoat Muslims and support a future where all Britons play a positive role. The official added, the call comes in a year where party leaders and the media have doubled their anti-Muslim rhetoric, portraying them as the enemy within and have downplayed their right to play an equal role in our democracy. The Council's president concluded that the war in Gaza is a major concern for most Muslims in Britain. Hate crimes against Muslims have significantly increased in March, reaching a rate of 356%, with individuals being targeted for their support for Palestinians. A new UN report has highlighted that more than 13 million people across Yemen are experiencing food insecurity due to the temporary suspension of food aid distribution for about 7 months. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs stated that the latest humanitarian updates in Yemen indicate that 13.2 million people are suffering from food insecurity as a result of the World Food Programme's suspension of food aid distribution since November 2023. The report further mentioned that among these, 4.7 million people are facing food insecurity at the emergency level, which is the fourth stage of the Integrated Food Security Phase classification, where at least 1 in every 5 families experiences severe caps in food consumption, leading to acute malnutrition or increased mortality. The report warned that continuing the temporary suspension of aid distribution is likely to further deteriorate the food security situation, especially in 48 specific priority directorates that witnessed rapid deterioration during the suspension period. On Saturday, 25th of May, the 49th Annual Joint Conference of the Islamic Circle of North America and the Muslim American Society launched in Baltimore, marking the largest annual Islamic gathering in the United States. The event attracts thousands of Muslims, including academics, religious scholars, and lecturers. The conference, held at the Baltimore Convention Center from May 25th to 27th, brings together tens of thousands of Muslims from various American states under the theme Unwavering Faith, Trust in God's Will. The Islamic Circle of North America was founded in 1968 by South Asian Muslims in the United States and became a more inclusive organization in 1977, uniting non-governmental Islamic organizations in North America. Meanwhile, the Muslim American Society was established in 1993 by Middle Eastern Muslims, particularly from Egypt, to unite Muslims in the United States and conduct cultural activities across various fields. MAS has more than 50 offices across the United States. Let us remind our respected viewers of today's headlines. Muslim Council of Britain warns politicians against using Muslims as a punching bag. Amid aid suspension, over 13 million Yemenis experience acute food insecurity. 49th Annual Joint Islamic Conference kicks off in Baltimore. Also tonight, experts warn against potential dangers AI poses to humanity if remains unregulated. The Chinese government is aggressively working to remold Uyghur culture in Xinjiang, including efforts to transform traditional Uyghur cuisine. Through household school programs, authorities dispatch Han Chinese workers to Uyghur homes to provide culinary training, promoting Han-style dishes over Uyghur staples like naan bread and milk tea. Chinese officials view Uyghur dietary customs, often shaped by Islamic practices, as backwards and a threat to ethnic unity. The campaign is part of Beijing's broader attempts to strip away Uyghur identity and enforce a unitary, modern Chinese culture. And now we continue with some short news. A militant attack on a Pakistani security outpost near the Afghanistan border has left 5 soldiers and 5 assailants dead, with another 6 soldiers injured. The attack occurred in the Tirah Valley of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, a former militant stronghold, the news agency noted, adding that the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan has claimed responsibility for the assault. This comes a day after Pakistani forces killed 2 soldiers and 5 alleged TTP-linked terrorists in a separate counter-terrorism operation. Pakistan's Interior Minister has renewed calls for the Taliban government in Afghanistan to take action against TTP leaders and fighters using Afghan soil to orchestrate cross-border attacks. The Taliban deny allowing their territory to be used for such activities, but skepticism remains over these claims. A 104-year-old Iraqi woman named Kazemiya Hatem has arrived in Mecca to perform the Hajj pilgrimage, making her the oldest Iraqi pilgrim this year. Despite her advanced age, Kazemiya's determination and faith have inspired many other pilgrims. The Iraqi Hajj mission has provided her with special care and attention during her journey, ensuring her safety and comfort. Kazemiya's presence at the Hajj is a source of pride and happiness for the Iraqi Hajj mission and the Iraqi community in general. Performing the Hajj at an advanced age reflects deep faith and passion for worship, emphasizing the importance of the Hajj as a fundamental pillar of Islam. The Department of Rituals and Husseini Processions in Iraq and the Islamic world has announced the commencement of its early preparations for the months of sorrow, Muharram and Safar. In a press statement followed by Shia Waves agency, the assistant head of the department, Muhammad Mustafa Al-Tawil, said the department has begun early preparations and arrangements to receive the months of Muharram and Safar. Al-Tawil added the preparations for the sacred Husseini rituals have been made by organizing several measures that facilitate the process of registering the Husseini processions and issuing identification cards to enable their participation in providing services to the honorable pilgrims and reviving the mourning rituals. It is expected that this year the holy city of Karbala will witness an increase in the number of Husseini processions participating in providing services and reviving the Husseini cause during the months of Muharram and Safar, including processions coming from Arab and foreign countries. The UN has approved a resolution to commemorate the 1995 Srebrenica genocide in Bosnia annually over strong opposition from Serbs. The vote on May 23rd in the 193-member UN General Assembly was 84-19, with 68 abstentions. The resolution designates July 11th as International Day of Reflection and Commemoration of the 1995 genocide in Srebrenica, thus establishing an annual day of commemoration for the massacre of more than 8,000 local Bosnian Muslim men and boys almost 30 years ago. The July 1995 massacre, which was carried out by Bosnian Serb forces, has been ruled an act of genocide by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. So far, more than 50 individuals have been sentenced to some 700 years in prison for their roles in the massacre. The Papua New Guinean government has informed the United Nations that over 2,000 people were buried in a massive landslide that devastated a remote village in the country's Enga province. The disaster occurred in the early hours of Friday morning when a large section of Mount Mungalo collapsed, completely burying scores of homes and the residents inside them. According to the country's National Disaster Center, the landslide has caused major destruction to buildings, food gardens, and the economic lifeline of the country. According to officials, the main highway to the Porgera mine has also been completely blocked, hampering rescue efforts. The government has called for immediate and collaborative action from all relative parties, including the military and regional responders, to address this catastrophic situation. Experts have warned against potential dangers artificial intelligence poses to humanity, stressing that without proper rules, it could ultimately lead to the extinction of humans. According to a recently published report, researchers in the field of AI called for stricter controls on technology, highlighting the risks AI could pose if it falls into the wrong hands. Experts underlined the fact that AI has the capability to manufacture biological weapons or even trigger the collapse of the human species if not managed correctly, calling on governments to prevent the use of AI for biology or nuclear warfare capabilities. It should be mentioned that the Council of the European Union had earlier approved a landmark piece of legislation aimed at harmonizing rules on artificial intelligence across the EU. We have reached the end of today's Shia Waves show. Let's remind our viewers of today's headlines. Muslim Council of Britain warns politicians against using Muslims as a punching bag. Amid aid suspension, over 13 million Yemenis experiencing acute food insecurity. 49th Annual Joint Islamic Conference kicks off in Baltimore. China's campaign to reshape Uyghur culture through food. Experts warn against potential dangers AI poses to humanity if it remains unregulated. You can view the latest news on Shia Waves' website, and you can send news of your city or country to be published on our news agency. Contact us on the numbers at the bottom of the screen. This is the end of today's news. Thank you for watching. We pray to Allah Almighty to hasten the reappearance of the Master of our time. Wassalamu alaikum.
محلى اسمك الا رحمه ضيجل عليه عشق ماكو مثله ماكو احلى من جماله بدر كلها تشهد من محمد كل خصاله نعم انا احبه وعلى دربه وبوصاله نعم انا احبه والله نعم انا احبه